What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out the new FabFilter Pro Q4. Can it actually get any better? Well, here's a spoiler. It can. Let's dive into it. So what's up guys, Chris here. So like I said, we're going to be checking out Pro Q4. I've got it open up here. First of all, I should start by stating this is probably one of my most used plugins in the game so far. I purchased the FabFilter bundle when there was Pro Q2 out, and I've been upgrading ever since, and every iteration they step it up in such a good way. Honestly, I don't even know where they could take it with Pro Q5 because they've implemented so much already and it's such an amazing tool. But with that out the way, let's dive into why I really enjoy this, what my favorite features are, what some of the new features are. We're going to dive into all of it, and yeah, let's check it out. I'm going to put this on a stand and we'll dive straight in. So as you can see, we've got an instance of Pro Q4 here, and off the bat, it's very much the same UI, nothing too different. They've slightly updated the GUI. The meters on the sides are a little bit slicker, you could say, but we've also got a few things at the bottom, and so these are some of my favorite features they've included. So I'm going to start right here where it says main. A feature I had really enjoyed previously on Pro Q3 was that you can internally sidechain your EQs. So say I wanted to check how the kick and the bass were working off each other, I could open up an instance of Pro Q3 and I could see all the other instances internally in the plugin. But what this allows me to do is actually go through, see all the instances I have, as well as make any changes I want to make to all the other Pro Qs. I don't have to necessarily leave this plugin. Everything all works inside here. It's all ordered in alphabetical order, which is great. I can change the sizes, and you know, I've got this mode that just kind of magnifies whichever one I've got selected. But saying that, to what I had mentioned about sidechaining and seeing how certain things react off each other, I can do that right here. So say we take the same instance. This Pro Q is on the mix bus right now, but say I want to see how the kick is affecting everything else, or where there's maybe some masking going on. So I go into kick here, S kick, turn this button on. We can see where things are starting to mask. So here I can see a little bit of overlap on that bass, you know, maybe similar channels like the kick sub. In the mix, it's just telling us where basically the kick is living, but maybe there's a little bit going on in the guitars, you know. So like this, it makes it really easy for me to see which parts may be conflicting in certain frequencies, and I can just pull them out in that instance. Again, really lovely that it's all on one page, and I can select an individual EQ and just dive straight into it. So one more thing that I can actually check out from this screen is that if I want to copy and paste a certain EQ, I can do that, or I have the option to EQ match. Or I can also do things like main output volume. I can mute, I can bypass the EQ, I can phase flip. That all happens from here. Say I've recorded some drums and I've got EQs throughout the whole kit, kick, snare, overheads, whatever. I can go and I can EQ, check phase, do a little bit of volume balancing, all from Pro Q, which is fantastic. As well, we also have the option to search for tracks if we don't know what we're looking for. In this case, when I couldn't find the kick, I could just search it and it would give me that option. So that's, I guess, this multi EQ feature that we've got here. But diving into the main window, the very familiar EQing side, you can see a couple of things. Just as I'm moving my mouse around, you can see there's like the highlight, or like almost a ghosting effect of different EQ shapes going on, whether it's a bell or a shelf, you know. Basically, this allows me to quickly, if I double tap, it's just gonna add a little bell or shelf. Again, one of my favorite features are all these little shortcuts they've added that just make it really quick and easy. Like my favorite thing when I was using this before is like double clicking on the sides to add, you know, high or low filters, or if I just clicked, I could add a band. These things I found really convenient, even if it was because I mainly work on my laptop and I don't have a mouse wheel, but I could click and with 2 fingers change the scale of the cue, you know. So all of this made it really quick and easy to work very fast, which I really enjoyed. But they've added another feature, not too sure if I'm going to use this that much, but it's there, which is the draw feature. So we click on this, we can literally draw in a certain shape no matter what it is, and then it just spits out this EQ. Personally, I wouldn't really find myself using this because, as interesting as it is, I think I prefer kind of sweeping and exploring the frequency spectrum. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, this needs a dip here and a shelf here or whatever. I think maybe if you have that idea in mind, or you've done a process numerous times, you could just quickly draw it in. But personally, it's a fun feature, but I don't really see myself using it too much. But cool that it's there nonetheless. Now, another amazing feature that they have included in this version of Pro Q is, say I create a bell and I can make that bell dynamic. So normally this would just be a mid boost, but like this, I can actually have it react to the amplitude going into Pro Q, whether it's ducking or increasing. But a beautiful feature is they've included this spectral mode, right? And this is similar to how Soothe works. You can see it works off the resonant frequencies. And again, I could be more extreme with that. I can go into here and I can change the attack and release. I can even change how dense it is. If I want it to be a bit more subtle or a bit more surgical, I can do that. I even have the option to sidechain. Obviously this was included before. I could just sidechain to another EQ or another signal. Say I've got this on my mix bus, say I sidechain this to the kick in this case, and I turn this on, and you'll see now it's only going to react to that kick. I'm going to turn off the spectral mode. So now you can see this band is only reacting to the kick, but I can even go in and I can change how it's sidechaining which part of the frequency. And if I audition this, so you're just hearing the kick, you can hear it's actually sidechaining to a certain frequency of the kick. This feature was already there before, but this in combination with the spectral mode can be super powerful. Maybe not in this instance of using it on the mix bus with the kick, but you get the idea, is that it's a very powerful tool that gives you a lot of freedom to sculpting certain sounds, as well as having attack and release control. It's not necessarily by speed, more by a percentage, because the attack and release modes in general actually work depending on if it's a low frequency or a high frequency. They react differently. So like this, it's still on in automatic attack and release time, but instead you're just saying, oh, can I have that to be slightly faster or slightly slower? And now we can also add a little bit of flavor to our EQ. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there enjoy using hardware-based plug-in EQs, whether it's a Neve or an SSL or an API or whatever. These all do the same job. Realistically, they're all EQs, but the reason we pick different ones is because they give us a different flavor. So what's really nice about Pro Q4 is they've actually included a couple different flavors of analog warmth, you could say. We've got subtle and warm, and that's just going to slightly, maybe it might tame a bit of the top end or remove a bit of the lower mids, or however it might be, but it's just gonna give us a little bit of something to make this EQ feel maybe less digital and make it feel a bit more like some of the analog based EQs that we're more familiar with. But really lovely. Let's hear what that sounds like. I'm just gonna blast this track and yeah, let's check it out. So they're pretty subtle controls, but you can feel a little bit of difference. At least for me, I can hear in the top end it becomes a little bit smoother, which I really like. Obviously, you can use these sparingly because maybe if you use it over a whole track, it might, you might be lacking a certain something that you would get if you just kept all of the frequency. But it's there if you want to check it out. Fun feature nonetheless. We now also have the ability to just copy and paste bands as freely as we want to different plugins. This wasn't something you could do before. So I can go say I want this exact band, I can copy it, go into another instance, which in this case it's on the vocals, paste, and it's exactly the same cue, same frequency, everything is the same, which is nice, saves me a little bit of time. I have had to copy certain bands or certain moves over to different instruments or whatever that I could be working on. So at least like this, it just keeps it all a lot easier, a lot quicker, which is fantastic. A feature that was already introduced, which is this zero latency natural phase linear phase, basically allows you to make EQ moves with less phase happening if you have one of those two modes selected. Something to keep in mind is that, say I was using, I'll turn this back down, say I was using that spectral mode. So here, as soon as I turn this on, this band on its own will be working in a linear phase mode, because there's usually some pretty mad things happening with the EQ curve. So this just makes sure that there's nothing cancelling out basically due to phase. So that's something to keep in mind, is that if you're using a lot of these spectral bands, it's likely that you'll need a lot more processing power on your project. So maybe don't go too overboard if your computer can't handle it. If you've got a beast of a computer, then use as many spectral bands as you want. So the last two additional features that they've given us on Pro Q is we've got a new shelf, we've got a all pass, which looks a little something like this. Honestly, I haven't found a use for this type of curve yet, but it's there if you want it. And lastly, the filters. If you were to use your mouse wheel, you could see it moves in increments, depending on the octave. Or now, if you hold Shift, you can actually have it be anywhere in between. It can just be a smooth shelf. That's really good if you want to be a little bit more precise. Personally, I think I'm sticking with the, just snapped octaves, because I prefer the quicker workflow of it. I don't need to be super surgical about it, but it's there if you want to be a bit more precise. Fantastic plugin overall. I would recommend you guys check it out. This is not a sponsored video. I just really enjoy the plugin. I wanted to show it to you guys. I'll stick a link in the description below if you want to go check that out. So yeah, that's about it for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to let us know in the comment section below. Do you own this plugin? Are you looking to get this plugin? Are you just here to see what the new features are? But yeah, just let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And once again, I've been Chris Vella, and I'll see you on the next one.